Good afternoon, and welcome to episode 33 of the At the Coffee Table podcast. I am your host, Jason Klink, and I'm doing a lunchtime live for this podcast episode. I wanted to do a lunchtime live here today just to give my thoughts because it's October 1st, and it's October 1st, and now what is the title of the podcast. So October 1st to me, it has multiple meanings, and I think it has multiple meanings to a lot of us. You look at October 1st, we're in our last quarter of 2020. I think we all can agree that 2020 hasn't been the easiest on any of us. I know that for most of us, we started this year with a lot of optimism, a lot of plans, a lot of goals we wanted to achieve, and then March happened, and we've been in the middle of a pandemic ever since. A lot of plans got turned upside down. A lot of businesses got turned upside down. That's no secret. And I've noticed in the news and in other places how a lot of businesses haven't recovered since March. One of my more favorite restaurants here in Syracuse, Itchy Bonds, rolled up the sidewalk, closed the doors, and are no longer in business after being in business for decades. Needless to say that this pandemic situation, this current environment, hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy on people personally. It hasn't been easy on businesses. Now, if you think about it, we're October 1st. So I think I saw today that we're 33 days away from the national election. Well, actually, the national and local election. But just before that, we're 30 days away from Halloween. So 33 days away from the next election, and things are starting to get interesting. Presidential debates are starting. People are forming their opinions, taking sides. And you know what, folks? Let's be kind to each other. And I've said this a couple of times. Everybody gets, in this country, great country that it is, everybody gets the right to their opinion, to their choice, to voice their opinion and their beliefs. One thing that I set on is remember how angry everybody was, not only state and federal governments, and how this current environment has transpired over the last 6 or 7 months. And I'm a strong belief that politicians should not be career politicians, that politicians shouldn't get the right or think they have the right to be in their government position, their political position for decades. I am of the belief that politicians should, after 8 years, be done. Unfortunately, senators, congressmen, they don't have term limits like the president does. So it's upon us as voters to exercise our voting rights and have them be done. Any politician that's in office over 8 years should be voted out. Unfortunately, those that have been in for decades have the money and the power to prevent any kind of competition from happening and for them to be done. I'm of the mindset that if you're in a political position, you've been there for decades and no one's running against you, well, we should write in a name against you. Maybe if we get enough of them, you'll be done or get the hint. But my point being is that political positions were never intended to be career positions. That at some point after 40 years or 20 years or 30 years in a political position, you're losing touch with what's going on in your local area that the people that elected you are from. This shouldn't happen, and there should be term limits for political positions. So we have to go into this political climate with political ads on TV every 3 seconds, and from now for the next 33 days. But if you have any kind of strong position and strong opinions on how things have transpired this year, you should make sure that you make arrangements to vote in 33 days because it does matter. There's third-party candidates that don't get a voice. There's third-party candidates that are campaigning not only for the presidency, for other offices across the country, and they don't get a voice because the big two are monopolizing the political climate. But there are options, and we always have options in this country. So now we're 33 days away from the election. Depending on how that transpires, we're just under a month from Thanksgiving, just under 2 months from Christmas and the holiday season, and 3 months away from New Year's Day and a whole new year. So now we have to make plans for this quarter. I know for those of us that work jobs in business, or maybe you are an entrepreneur, you run a business, you're in real estate like I am. The fall months can tend to be the slower months. And some of the things I've learned over the last few years is that you can't sit on your hands and wait for the slow months to go by and expect to have any kind of momentum going into January and into the new year. And this could be for anything. You don't have to be in business for this to apply. But if you want to keep progressing yourself forward and you want to propel yourself into the new year, what you do now over the next 3 months will provide for you in the new year, in the start of the new year. So that means, finishing up those projects, finishing up those plans, reaching out to, your customers or your clients over the next few months to see if there's anything you can do for them. Any activities to keep things moving forward, for the simple fact that just because things slow down doesn't mean you should slow down. And we all have our downtime over the next few months, and we have the holidays they're going to come screaming up on us here faster than we think. And it just seems like year after year goes by a lot quicker. But who knows what our holidays will look like in this current environment? Who knows what our holidays will look like post-election, depending on how these elections turn out this year. There's a lot of things to consider. So there's a lot of things to think about. And I know for me, it's just getting done what I had planned to get done for this year so I can start with new goals for next year and have nothing, overlapping or extending over. So these were just some of the thoughts I had because, being October 1st is kind of more of a milestone than any other point of the year. Even it may be more of a milestone or a benchmark than January 1st, just because we are in the final stretch, those final few months. And, we could make or break our next year by what we do now. So I just wanted to pop on, do this lunchtime live, give my opinion on certain things, and just pull up a chair to this virtual coffee table and discuss what's on my mind. So I'd be interested in hearing from you, be interested in any comments. So please leave a comment, like or share this podcast and this lunchtime live. And let me know if there's any topics you would like to see discussed on this show and the shows coming forward. With that, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have a great day.